episodes of Power Pack series. Those of you who are joining us for the first time, I would like to mention that Power Pack series is a joint initiative of NIC Peshawar, Parvane Khanam, and Enterpriser. This is Mavish, one of the founding members at NIC Peshawar. I have with me Sabah Durrani, Project Manager, Parvane Khanam.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.
And Mariam Iqbal, Founder, Enterpriser.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. A very good morning to all of you.
So real education should consist of drawing out the goodness and the best from among the students. And one such outstanding woman who has been contributing for the past 19 years in education sector and has been an inspiration of success, Hadia Meher, the principal, Bloomfield Hall, Peshawar. Now I would like Hadia to share her journey with us. Over to you, Hadia.
All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm very excited to be here. Mavish has been very generous with her praise. I run a school by the name of Bloomfield Hall School. We are an exclusively O and A-level school. We've been in Peshawar since 2001. I've been part of school since 2007. I'd like to think of school as a little island here where we're working very hard in nurturing the talent of Peshawar. We're very fortunate. We've got a lot of talent. We've got self-driven children. We've got parents who are extremely concerned and ensure that they leave no stone unturned finding the best possible education services for their children. And I'd like to think that we're one of the very best schools here in Peshawar. So yeah, to sum it up, that's who I am.
Wonderfully said, Hadia, always.
Hadia, I would like you to shed light on this. You know, this pandemic has changed everything for everyone around the globe. So how did all that work, the digital divide in your education system? How does digital divide contribute to the growth in education system or sector? I would like to know.
All right. Okay. You're absolutely right. I think life as we knew before COVID has ceased to exist. Everything's changed. Everything has become very technology based. I think the only places in terms of institutions, companies that could survive were places that had a digital setup. We were very fortunate. We were being part of Google Education for almost about now 12 years. We initiated our Google Education platform when things were not very pleasant in Peshawar after the Army School incident. So we had Google Education accounts set up for our students. When COVID started and we heard of schools shutting down in New York, we developed a slightly more proactive approach and we sensed that something similar could happen here as well. So we had all our student accounts up and running. We gave soft trainings to our students, to our staff, how to manage the accounts, how to tackle with an assignment online, for teachers, how to upload work. And I think those 2-3 days of training is what saved us. In terms of digital divide, I feel at Bloomfield Hall, we're very blessed. We cater to a faction of society that is well-versed, in using the computer, understanding how technology works, and also in terms of affordability, they're very blessed. So when we did switch online, we didn't face anything of the sort where we felt that a group of our students would not have access to the internet or to the required technology. So for us, it was relatively smoother, but in terms of education, generally, globally within our city, the divide is very evident. Institutions, students who did not have access to internet have almost lost about 16 months of teaching time. So that is now, I think, in every setup, in every school, every college, they're trying to devise plans how to overcome that gap.
That's true, especially as you mentioned, there are people who are underprivileged. Studying in government schools, they don't have such kind of facilities. So definitely it has affected the education sector overall. But yeah, you have coped up with it, and I think kudos to you.
Yeah, and always have a proactive approach to certain things. This is what I've seen about her. G.
Yeah, you said power packs. I was practicing picking weights last night, building my power. Yeah, making sure I'm fit to be here. Yeah.
To adapt to the changes, I mean, everything going digital, but other than that, what are the burning issues that the students are facing? And in your mind, how did you deal with those issues? You know, access to the internet was one of the problems, but getting, the children to sort of adapt to sitting in front of the computer and being assessed, and then the challenges of teachers, when they had a bit of privacy in the classrooms, but while they're sitting with their children and the teacher sort of, lots of teachers said it was very difficult for them to adapt to that style of learning where they were, under scrutiny and also those kind of challenges. And parents have become more sensitive about their children. So how do you deal with like issues where parents are concerned and teachers under more scrutiny and, this new style of teaching that has taken place that is online?
All right. Mariam, like I mentioned before, when it came to logistics, we were very lucky. We had the setup within the school premises, and we had the children come on board very quickly. The parents were extremely supportive. When we rolled out the specifications of what we will be needing to conduct online classes, I think the parents made sure that they would provide everything that we asked for. There was no transition. It was immediate. It was like children were on campus one day and post the weekend, schools were shut and you're all sitting in front of the computer, in front of the screen. I think the largest and the foremost biggest challenge that we did face was the school is structured and is conducive. The environment is conducive to learning. So now we have children at homes, in bed, in a living room, in a drawing room, with siblings, with aunts, uncles. So, managing to develop or managing to get that environment where the children would have some peace, some quality time, some learning time, I think that was a challenge. Again, we turned to the parents. We sent out a set of expectations, detailed instructions, how it would help children monitoring bedtime, sitting where it's relatively quieter. One of the steps that we did take was we split every class into two. So the student-teacher ratio, we brought it down to almost 10:1. So that when a teacher is sitting in front of the screen, there are only 10 students and each of those 10 children are visible. We had to make our lessons a lot more interactive. It couldn't just be the teacher speaking or teaching and the children just sitting there and fading out. So I think that the interactive lessons, smaller class sizes, cooperation from the parent side helped. At Bloomfield Hall, we always believed in having the parents' input, and we make sure that they're heard. So we didn't feel that, suddenly the parents know what we're doing. We've always been very fond of having them know what we do on school premises as well. So for us, that wasn't so much of a concern. We did, of course, have to make sure that when everything was completely under a lockdown, that the teachers were also following the same code that we expected the students. So if you're taking a lesson, you have to be sitting up and taking a lesson and all. You were saying something?
Yes, I think when we speak of COVID and when we interview a lot of people who are in the workforce or running their own businesses, I think one element that comes up is the mental health of the parents, because they want some respite. They want their children to sort of go and the children, and it's not just about education, but the social interaction. So I'm sure that you've had help on board as far as like mental health issues or those, if you'd like to sort of shed light on that, because I think that's a very important element to talk about.
Absolutely. Mariam, I think the isolation, the economic implication, the fact that nobody knew what COVID was, how it would affect. We heard of people getting it, lack of understanding, and suddenly, you're just there where everything comes to a halt, So in terms of mental health, the teachers had to work very closely with the students. We had to make sure that we keep our eyes open, sense any difference in behavior, let them know. And for the parents, of course, and suddenly, it was the parents' responsibility, making sure the internet's working, the device is working, the child is up, attentive. So I think in terms of acknowledgement from our side, little words of appreciation. We sent in video messages to the moms. We were there around the clock. I mean, we would get 12 a.m. requests that my computer's frozen. What do I do? We'd call them to school, extend as much as support. And I think a little bit of kindness always really goes a long way. I think that's what really got us through, helped us ride the COVID wave. Yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Excellent, Hadia. So you always had a leadership qualities. I know that.
You're just being generous again with praise. Okay.
So how was your training at Harvard? I know because you had a session with regarding education and leadership. And you have also been
With
associated with Model United Nations as well. So how had that experience been with you?
All right. Mavish, I think the credit that I'd like to, for being proactive, being able to think out of the box, I think that all goes back to the trainings at Harvard and being associated with the Harvard School of Education. I think because their programs are designed where whatever you teach has to be applied practically. So you're always, whatever you're doing, you have to apply it in a classroom setting, in your school setting. And then there's a lot of peer learning where you're discussing it with people who are in the same field, face the same challenges. So, you say, oh, this is what I went through. So, when you're sitting here, you think that, oh, this crisis is just exclusive to you. Your challenge is just yours. But when you're part of something like a program at Harvard School of Education, you realize it's not just you, it's across the globe. And then you find out, oh, there's so many ways to go about a problem. I could have done that. Maybe this would work. So I think they really let you, and 2 words, encourage you to think out of the box, to think. So I think that is what really helped. And then critical thinking, always having a plan, not taking the back seat, making sure that, you're always, have something up your sleeve, ready to take the challenge. That all goes back to Harvard.
Yes, and everyone, I would like to add, Hadia, one thing that impresses about her, which impressed me, was that when she is going through her result session, so she makes sure before signing it, she goes through each and every result, and she remembers it. Honestly speaking, because I've seen her interacting with the parents and discussing if a particular child is weak in a particular subject, so she will just take him on the side and discuss it. We can have some sessions with a particular child on that. So that's a brilliant effort, Hadia. I think you go out of the box.
No, I have to make sure that I know all the, thank you so much. I have to make sure that we know all the children, because it's not just teaching, it's also nurturing them, understanding them. So that's what we're trying to do here at Bloomfield.
You always make things personal, and I think that's the best way to success, and create space in people's heart, and especially students and parents. And when the leader is involved, I think that creates bigger magic. Hadia, since all this change happened, and as you said, you had been working on Google Classrooms before COVID, you were prepared. Would you like to, remote learning is like something that you have been doing? Would you like to continue it? Do you think that has added up, it has made it easy, or do you think that has not contributed to it?
All right. I think some of the changes that have been brought by COVID are absolutely wonderful. I think conducting checks, administrative work, everything's organized. Everything is just a click away. Sharing material with the students, that I think, everything's just up there on their screens, is always there. Conventional, using a notebook, collecting the notebooks, having children leave the notebooks at home. There's no more of that. I think children who rely on auditory and visual learning, I think this remote learning has helped them, because, they're there. We managed to switch completely to presentation style learning, where we're displaying presentations. That we've made sure even when children are on campus, we continue teaching in the same manner. We have children, I think Google Docs is absolutely wonderful, where there's lifetime sharing. The teacher can leave comments, access the work, see as the children are writing. I think so some of the things have been very wonderful, and they're here to stay, and we'll continue using them. The amount of effort and the work that's been done by educationists across the world in improving the quality of online teaching is inspiring. I mean, really on a weekly basis, you see that there's something new, something better that you can benefit, this children can benefit. So there are a lot of policies that we have adopted and that are here to stay.
It took a huge pandemic, a global pandemic, to bring these small changes in our education system, and it is bringing such a effective change in students, and as well as I think the working women. I've seen Mavish working with students as well. Mavish, I would like you to contribute to this conversation as well, since you are associated with the students and digital learning and all this. So what's your take on this?
I think I would just add up to what Hadia has said, because I've been working with her, so I'm going to praise her. Sorry, guys. But the thing was, she had such a program was so defined up, because she makes sure the first class was not early in the morning. She makes sure it was around about 8:30 onwards. She made sure the lessons were fewer. As she said, she makes sure she group them into 2. So I think it was really easy for being a teacher as well. And another thing is that Google Docs was really easy. We can check on the assignments during the class. We can check the progress. If a child wanted us to check or review his work, so then and there, in a different environment setting, I must say that. And apart from that, Hadia has been quite relaxant as well as a boss as well, because it would exactly. I would like to contribute that because she's been helping women as well, and she has a lot of teachers as well. If anybody was sick, if anybody have children at home, so she made sure they could access and
Mom, you're
teach.
embarrassing me. Can you see me blush? You were embarrassing me. Can you see me blush
Sure,
in my
she gave them
cheeks?
the
This is all
leverage.
natural. This is all natural. Yeah.
So she made
So,
sure that the
Sabah,
student and the teacher both were in their comfort zone as well. So that's a big thing, I think. This is what she did, I would say.
yeah.
So yeah, I have to say that.
No, so but I think it's quicker, it's swifter, it's better. The exchange of information is far more smoother. There are no missing gaps. There's no chance that you've put something up there and it goes missing. The record is there. Everything is just literally everything is just a click away. And I think most of the changes, if we've adopted it, I'd actually encourage lots of places to look into it and adopt them and make sure that they embed them in their future policies. Because there's a lot that the children can benefit from.
I agree.
Yeah. And one of the other things is bridge the gap between a national school and an international school. So what you're doing is being done in all across the world. So I think that is also one of the areas that we need to look into, that's bridge the gap. So sitting here, you don't feel isolated anymore, that you're in a small city somewhere in the corner of the world. You feel that whatever you're doing is being done everywhere. So you've got to have it right. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah.
Hadia, I have a question for you. I know that everyone knows you firstly as an educationist, and you're very passionate about, education, and you've done a wonderful job, like for a decade plus, nearly 2 decades. I think a lot of people sort of miss out on asking you the question that you're also a very, good businesswoman. The aspect of running a place, hiring people. If you'd like to sort of emphasize a little on being a woman in Peshawar, and then providing quality education. I mean, there's just no difference with the way you're delivering your education. I mean, it can be compared to any good international institute. And then hiring people and, all the problems that comes with running a place, obviously, other than education. And I can see that you're a good leader and a manager. I've been to your school, and everything is spick and span, and almost Hitler-like. I don't know if I should use this word. Everything is just so. And the fact that you're successful. So how do you sort of be tactful and courteous at the same time? And my second question, I know we don't have a lot of time, but being a mother, and then keeping a balance between your professional and business life, and then constantly you're worrying about other kids, but you've got your own kids as well. And usually it happens, because my mom was an educationist as well, that you're so engrossed in sort of other kids that sometimes your own children become sensitive to the fact that, are you giving us that much time, as and someone like you who's so honest, I'm sure that you take everyone at the same level. So if you'd like to sort of answer these two questions.
Absolutely. Mariam, I think being in Peshawar, one of the first challenges is that, you're a woman and you're eyed as if, can she? When I entered the field of education, business of education, I was fairly young. So, there's always an element of doubt where people look at you and think that, oh, maybe she's a woman. Let's see, let's push her. Let's test her authority, her understanding and all. So it took a lot of grit and determination and a lot of self-belief, conviction that I can. I've always had people in my life who believed in me. That I think helped tremendously. The support of family and friends, of course, that helped. And knowing that this is something that I can do, I took it up as a challenge. I believe that Peshawar in general needed a place. I remember expecting my firstborn, and as soon as I found out, one of the very first concerns was, where do I send her to school? And at that point in time, So, that is what I've took. So I thought that whatever I want from my own children, they're all, in fact, everyone at Brookfield Hall is my own. So went ahead. In business, there's a lot of times I think where you have to go by your gut, you have to sense what is right. I've always believed in looking out for opportunities. I've always also tried that whatever challenge comes my way, seeing how I can mold that into something beneficial. What can I grab out of that? Again, being proactive has helped tremendously because you understand the beat of the city, you understand the requirement, what's needed, and then you sort of step up and start giving people what they want. That has helped. And I feel that until the past 5 years, education's been a field where it's been relatively easier to work because if you're doing well, your clientele is the parent community. They see their children coming home. If the learning is visible, the nurturing is visible, they're very happy. Recently, it's been a bit of a challenge with the government and its policies. We constantly try negotiating with the government, trying to see what benefit we can bring, getting them to see eye to eye. But I think, again, persistence is one of the things where, and I'm known to be a stubborn ass. I think, sorry, my language. I think so. Being stubborn helps tremendously. If I want something, I want it. I leave no stone unturned. So I make sure that I get what I want. So I think that is it. Being a mom, I think I was very lucky. The girls have always, I am part of their school. This is their school first and then my school. So we came together, we left together, we had the same holiday schedule. What the girls wanted generally is what all the students wanted. So I tried giving them what they wanted. I tried giving the other children what they wanted. That worked well. I'm being organized, managing to do what needs to be done during the school hours. That way, at home. So I was more of an engaged parent around them. Study time, their study time would be my study time. So I would be able to catch up with pending work. So I think I've been very lucky that way. And I have 3 girls, and I'd like to believe that they see that there's so much that a woman can do, so I'd like to believe, and I think they're growing up seeing that. So they've never felt threatened that, oh, my mom's not there with me. In fact, I'd like to see that, oh, this is what my mom can do. So I can do so much more. So that is what I'm trying to get across to all the children, that there's so much that you can do with this one life. Yeah. Look at me, I'd like to think and get across that it's not somebody they see that is taking time away from them, but it's somebody who's doing something. And whether it's my girls or any girl out there, I would like them to know that there's so much that they can do. There's the sky, literally the sky is the limit if you believe in yourself. And once you decide this is what you want, you can do anything.
Thank you, Hadia. You have such a positive attitude and tireless energy, I must say. I've seen that. Yes, Sabha, you wanted to say something?
Yes, I just wanted Hadia to say a few inspirational words for the women in KP, since I also work with this sector, and I know we need a lot of inspiration women like her.
Success
Hadia,
stories
please,
and champions. Yeah.
Yes, please come on. We need something. I'm liking your energy. Pass it on.
So to everyone out there, it's just you who you need. Relying on anyone else comes second. You've got to believe in yourself. You carry yourself with grace, dignity, believe in yourself. That's all you need. There's absolutely anything and everything that we're capable of doing. Peshawar's got tremendous talent. We're very fortunate to be here. We've got the looks and the brains, and the sky's the limit for us. Yeah.
Well done, nice.
Okay.
Thank you, Hadia, for being such an inspiration.
Thank you for having me here, and I wish you all the best.
And
Thank you,
for being a
Hadia.
role
Such a
model
pleasure.
for women.
Amazing.
You should be more,
It's
Hadia.
always good to see you, Mariam. It's always, Sabha, nice meeting you. Nice talking to you too as well.
Same.
Mavish, I'll
same.
see you around.
Thank you
All
so
the
much.
best.
And thank you,
All
the
right.
rest of my co-participants.
Thank you, NIC and Mavish. Yes. For helping us out.
Everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All the best. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you.
Allah Hafiz.
Thank you. Allah Hafiz.